Hi, Karen Curry Parker here with just a short little video to remind you about the power and the importance of your heart. It is so easy when the world feels like it's out of control, when terrible and violent things happen on the planet and we feel despair, partially because our hearts are so wide open when we encounter things happening on the planet that don't match what we know is truth. It's very easily to get destabilized, to shut down your heart, or to disconnect from heart, or to struggle with knowing how to stay connected to that heart space, that heart strength that is your compass. So I thought I'd share with you just a couple of insights from human design and a couple of techniques that you can use to get yourself back into connection with your heart. The deal is this: when we stay aligned with heart, when we drop into heart, we actually raise our frequency. We bring ourselves into a state, an elevated state of well-being. We create a high vibrational frequency. And not only do you, of course, feel better, more centered, more grounded, more clear, when you walk into the room in a heart-centered space, when you walk into the room in a place of alignment, you actually entrain the energy in the room without having to do a thing, without having to say a word. You become this influential force that can lift the energy of anyone in your space who your aura is hitting. So this technique, or these techniques, and staying in that heart space is not only, of course, important for you so that you can stay connected to the truth of who you are, it actually allows you to become more influential, to be able to hold a baseline frequency that can lift everyone up around you. So you become this powerful, influential force that can shift the energy in a room just by you simply being there. So you've probably heard the phrase, your thoughts create your reality. When we look at this through the lens of human design, what we see is that the head and the ajna are designed to be used as a tool, or as centers that help us engage in possibility thinking. We're designed to imagine, to dream, to contemplate. And through that imagining, those imaginations, those thoughts, those visions, those ideas, those questions that we have actually calibrate our emotions. The emotions, of course, as you know, are regulated by the emotional solar plexus. The emotional solar plexus, in turn, calibrates your heart, the will center and the G center. The G center contains this very powerful magnet called the magnetic monopole. It attracts things into our life that match the emotional frequency of energy that we are holding. So when we have good dreams, good thoughts, good imaginings, we actually can shift and change and calibrate our heart and what we attract into our lives. It's difficult sometimes when the reality that we're confronted with is harsh and way out of bounds with what we know is truth. And our imagination kicks in and we wonder, how can we change this? What do we need to do? Those are, I might lovingly and gently suggest, not exactly the right questions to ask. There is a how. There is undoubtedly a how for us to bring an era of sustainable peace into this world. But we don't have to figure out the how. Our job is to hold a frequency of energy to imagine the possibility of a better world, of a more aligned world, to harness the appropriate emotional energy in response to the dream of a better world, to let that emotional energy calibrate the heart, and then see what shows up. And of course, take action. But don't take action until you get aligned first. When we align our hearts, the actions we take become deliberate, conscious, and intentional. If we don't wait for that alignment piece, then the actions we take are reactive. Reactivity oftentimes creates from a place that's not peaceful, that's fear-based, and not conscious and deliberately directed. The heart is part of our identity. The will center is our personal identity, sometimes called the ego. And the G center is the identity of our higher self. If we look at the G center and not get too caught up of what's in your chart, because we all have all of the chart, things that are white in your chart are energies that you're going to experience from others. Things that are colored in are part of your soul curriculum, themes that you're going to be working with and evolving over the course of your life, but we all have all of it. So we all have a G center. We all have all the gates in the G center. They're just configured differently depending on our unique charts. If we look at the G center as the archetype of the identity of being human, the higher purpose of being human, the gates of the G center give us key insights into the true identity of being human, or the true story of what it means to be a human being. What the G center shows us is that we are designed to love ourselves. We are designed to be powerful. We are designed to be on purpose, to define for ourselves who we are. We are designed to let go of the past and define for ourselves on a daily basis the story we tell about who we are and what's happened to us. We're designed to have a deep connection to spirit as source and to take our direction in life from our connection to our place in the cosmic plan. We are designed to be fully embodied and vital and to love and nurture our bodies. We are designed to be supported fully in receiving everything we need to fulfill the story of who we are. And we are designed to be compassionate, to share all of who we are in a sustainable way, not martyrdom, with the world. You being the fulfillment of all of who you are, is what you're here to give and share with the world. This calibration center, which is the quantum human design name for the G center, these gates contain vital energies that help us program or reconnect back to our heart. So if we look at the energy of all these gates and put it together in a series of statements, these statements come from the gates of the G center. If we use these statements, and we can actually measure this in the lab, if we use these phrases and repeat them, these sentences can actually get you reconnected back with the G center, the heart of who you are, and actually activate your heart, bring you into a state of heart coherence. So I encourage you to, whenever you're feeling confused, despairing, overwhelmed, concerned, fearful of what you see happening in the world or anything that might be happening in your life that feels destabilizing, to use these sentences. Literally stop if you need to, walk out of the room for a minute, put your hand over your heart, take a nice long deep breath, and just repeat these words. I am love. I am powerful. I am who I am. I am forgiving. I am serving. I am vital. I am supported. I am compassionate. When we connect with these words, it drops us back into the heart space. And so I certainly encourage you, if you're struggling, to get into the practice of just reminding yourself, I am love. I am powerful. I am who I am. I am forgiving. I am serving. I am vital. I am supported. I am compassionate. I'm going to share with you 2 other really simple steps that you can either add to your daily practice, or again, steps that you can use anytime you start to feel destabilized by what's going on in the world around you. The first one is a process that's super simple. It's just called breathing through your heart. And the second one is one that we sometimes roll our eyes at when it feels when life feels sort of challenging. The second one is appreciation and gratitude. So the first process, called breathing through your heart, is just, again, a very simple technique, something I encourage you to keep sort of as a tool in your toolbox, so that when you start to lose your heart connection, or you start to feel like you're about to become reactive instead of deliberate, just take yourself into the bathroom or go somewhere where you can stop for a minute and take a couple of breaths and literally just put your hand over your heart. And imagine while you're doing that you literally can breathe through your heart. So just drop your breath sort of out of your nose and mouth and drop it into your heart. And just breathe through your heart center until you find a level of peace and calm. It helps, I think, to put your hand over your heart. It kind of grounds you in that chest space. Do your best while you're doing this process to ignore your thoughts. You don't have to stop them or try to control them. Just don't give them a lot of attention. And just keep breathing until you feel relaxed. It can help if you focus on positive thoughts or if you have a beautiful or meaningful photograph. I have a picture of my youngest daughter on my phone, on my screensaver, so I oftentimes will look at this because I love that picture. It's just a really beautiful picture. Focus on music or anything else that causes you to soften your focus and just keep it on the feeling of your heart and your breath. Again, this brings you into a state of coherence. It allows you to entrain others around you into a state of coherence. And it brings us back into that heart intelligent space where we are not reacting, but we're instead being love, being powerful, being the fulfillment of the story of who we are, letting go of the reactivity from the past because the patterns of the past don't have to repeat themselves, being connected with Source, being fully present in our bodies, recognizing and knowing that it's all happening for us and we're fully supported and that we're supported in the transformations we're seeking to create in the world. And of course, being compassionate. The second tool is gratitude. And I say it that way because I'll tell you, I'm probably the one person on the planet who rolls my eyes the most sometimes when I have to do gratitude. It's very easy when you're looking around and you're feeling frustrated with everything, or you're looking at, the horror of a tragedy, to really struggle with being grateful, especially in a society that I think really sometimes really focuses on the harsh and the negative and skips over the part of gratitude. We forget that gratitude is actually the gateway to innovation. You cannot change a situation you hate. Hatred is not a transformative energy. You can only create transformation through love. Love creates sustainable change. And so gratitude really brings us back to focus with heart. And it gets us out of the frustration and the despair and the needing to know how. And it allows us to return our energy back towards what is working, so that the focus on what is working allows what is working to expand. So whenever you're feeling overwhelmed, scared, despairing, frustrated, sad, etc., just take a moment and just write down 10 things you're grateful for. 10 things you're grateful for. If you can't write them down, just think about them for a moment in your head. Here's the thing about gratitude. Sustained feelings of gratitude have real benefits, including the following. They create biochemical changes. These are favorable changes in the body's biochemistry that improves hormone balance, increases the production of DHEA, which is an anti-aging hormone. So if you're grateful, it's better than retinol. Gratitude increases positivity, and daily favorable changes in the body's daily gratitude exercises can bring a greater level of positive feelings. This is according to researchers from the University of Miami and the University of California, Davis, who studied this process in 157 individuals for over 13 days. It boosts the immune system. So the IgA antibody, which serves as the first line of defense against pathogen, increases in the body with gratitude. It gives you what we call emotional compound interest. The accumulated effect of sustained appreciation and gratitude is that these feelings and coherence are easier to recreate with continued practice. And so experiencing an emotion repeatedly, like gratitude, reinforces neural pathways, and that particular motion then excites the brain, the heart, and the nervous system, and it becomes easier and easier to access if we practice. So a gratitude practice literally changes the body positively in many, many ways. We also know, and this is kind of interesting and fun to think about, that the Earth's resonant frequencies approximate those of the brain, heart, and the autonomic nervous system. Studies show a surprising relationship between health and behavior and solar and geomagnetic activity. So these forces and the ever-deepening resonance and nurturing of spirit precipitated by coherent heart-based human connections are influencing each other. So scientists are beginning to demonstrate that increasing heart connections, that when we have enough people who activate the heart, who stay in the state of coherence, actually lead to solutions, or have the potential to lead to solutions, intuitive solutions for global challenges and transformation of our world and consciousness. When groups of people stay in a state of coherence, and if you're familiar with the Institute of Heart Math and their Global Coherence Project, they can actually measure changes in the geomagnetic activity and solar activity correlated to groups of people deliberately sustaining a state of heart coherence. What we know is we can influence the world when we stay connected to heart. We change the atmosphere, literally. So when we're sending love and light, as much as we may roll our eyes and say, well, that's not enough, obviously we have to also do the work of the world. But we start first by creating an environment that's conducive to good work in the world. So sending love and light is incredibly important. It literally can change the environment of the planet. So remember, when you drop into coherence, heart activation, gratitude, remember when you get back into that heart space and you touch the truth of who you are the heart of who you are. When you practice gratitude and you send love and light, that, no, as I said, those are not the only things to do, but certainly these are the most important first steps we need to take, and that staying in that space, that heart space, has the power and the potential to create a global environment that is receptive and ready to make the changes necessary to create an abundant, peaceful, sustainable, equitable, and just world. Thank you for the beauty and the power of your heart and all that you bring to the world. Thank you for being you.